God bless everybody today. It is November 11th of 2023. I just want to go through a few articles real quick. Did that video yesterday about how Hezbollah's leader came out, was going to give a speech. He's done that. He's basically trying to unite not only the Arabs, but Iranian proxies to support devastation and destruction of Israel. And this is going to bleed over to everything as we see, whether they're going to launch a massive invasion through Hezbollah on this very specific day, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting, the timing of all this. So I just have a few articles here I want to go over real quick. We're in the Israeli-Hamas war, day 36. Hezbollah leader Nasrallah calls to pressure U.S. into forcing ceasefire on Israel, which is not going to happen. They're having these small humanitarian pauses only in very specific areas or regions. It's not they're stopping the fighting Hamas. They're just allowing specific corridors in certain areas so that they can get some of these people out of there. And whether Hamas is allowing them to get out is another thought. It says Iran supports the resistance in all aspects, and so Iran, of course, has been pushing this narrative for some time. Basically, what came from this meeting, Arab leaders in Saudi Arabia summit called for halt to fighting in Gaza, which isn't going to happen through the Israelis. They're just doing these humanitarian pauses. Ask world not to remain silent. Of course, they're doing a propaganda machine on everybody to try to get support against Israel and to support the Palestinians or the terrorist group Hamas, of all things. It's not even about the Palestinians, it's about the Iranian proxies and what they're doing over there and how they're affecting this whole region. IDF surrounding 3 Gaza hospitals, which are soft targets that are built on hard targets. So you got bunkers and command posts and all kinds of stuff underneath these hospitals, and so Israel's trying to figure out how to get these people out of there. They're telling them to evacuate all patients. Hostages may be held under the Al-Shifa hospital, and so they're using these people as human shields, as well as they're using the Palestinian people as human shields. And the world doesn't seem to condemn any of this, and so we're just going to see this continue. IDF attack reported deep inside Lebanon. IDF says it took control of 11 Hamas command posts. Macron, I don't have much to say about Macron. He's about as ineffective as Trudeau. They're both terrible leaders, and if you look at back in the history books in World War II, France just handed over their country to Germany, and that turned out so well for them. So I'm not sure I'm going to look at anything Macron has to say. All you got to do is look at this guy and know. He says no justification for continued Israeli bombings of women and babies. Whatever, Macron. They came in and killed Israeli women, babies, and all kinds of people, but that doesn't seem to matter in the other side of the equation. At least 1,200 Israelis killed in Hamas massacre. I've heard up to 1,400. It changes depending on who you're talking to, and there's a lot of propaganda out here to build these numbers up to make each side look like they're under more duress. 239 hostages held in Gaza, 40 unaccounted for. Hamas run Gaza Health Ministry, so that should tell you something right now. Propaganda machine. Gaza Health Ministry says over 11,000 people have been killed since the start of combat. This guy wrote an article which I thought was really interesting. They must know there's a war coming from Hezbollah on that front, and so Gallant, which is the national security guy, comes out and says, we will do in Gaza, we know how, or what we do in Gaza, we know how to do in Beirut, which is, you know, Lebanon, Hezbollah is already preparing for this. Um, this is going to really ramp up because Hezbollah is a totally different animal than Hamas. They have they have 150,000 rockets. They have better systems. The rockets are better, more precision, and so it's going to create a lot more damage. And Hezbollah can basically hit pretty much anywhere in the country, and so this is going to be a real problem as the Iron Domes, to see whether the Iron Domes are going to hold up or not under this kind of stress on multiple fronts at the very same time. And like I say, you've still got stuff coming in from um, Lebanon, Golan Heights, you've got the West Bank, you've got the Houthis, you've got Syria, you've got Iraq, you've got Gaza on the southern border. And if Turkey gets into this, it's about a 12-hour drive from the Turkish border to Israel. So it won't take them long to get down there once they decide to get there. And Turkey will bring in everything when they do. It says here, Gallant held a situation assessment with commanders of forces on the Lebanese border, followed by a conversation with soldiers stationed there. During the conversation, Gallant addressed the citizens of Lebanon, warning that Hezbollah is dragging Lebanon into a war that may happen, and it is making mistakes. If it makes those kinds of mistakes here, those who will pay the price first and foremost are the citizens of Lebanon. And now you're going to have a secondary propaganda front pop up because now Israel's attacking the Lebanese people. Even look, if Hezbollah attacks, just as Hamas did, and or just launches a bunch of missiles and then stops, the world is going to condemn Israel for doing anything about it. Okay, it's just the way this is going to play out. And you're going to realize that there is no friends of Israel out here. Even our own country is not going to stand to help them before this is over. And the Bible tells us this. So we're going to watch Israel go under judgment, and 2/3 of their people, 2/3 of them, are going to perish in this final attack, which is a Gog of Ezekiel 38-39 attack. But you have to have Daniel 8 occur first, and so we're going to watch those Kurds in Iran align, and Turkey's going to smash them also. So Israel's going to be under a huge pressure under the international community as Gallant's basically coming in and saying they're going to make another Gaza in Beirut, which is a mess. I mean, if you go in and look at the pictures, they're basically knocking everything down as they clean through this area, and it's going to be a huge rebuild if they ever get there. Well, I don't know if the international community has enough ability to rebuild these areas once they're just devastated. We'll see how that works out. He also added that the Air Force is heading north. The Air Force is heading north, and its power is very great. We did not even use 10% of our Air Force's strength in Gaza. So he's telling them, don't do this. Nasrallah, the Hezbollah leader, is saying that basically they're going to unite against Israel, and this is going to become a real problem. As, of course, in this article, the leaders of the Arab League Summit share joint statements that the siege of Gaza must end. And so the Arabs are not putting themselves in a very good position here with siding with a terrorist nation called Iran and its proxies. And it tells you in the Bible just that this is going to turn out badly for all these Arab nations. You got Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan's going to be in the middle of some of this. There's all kinds of stuff going on out here that's going to affect us as we move forward. So at the joint Islamic-Arab Summit, leaders at the meeting focused on Israeli aggression against Gaza. You're never going to hear about Gaza or Hamas aggression or Iranian aggression against Israel. It's always the opposite. And so you got to wonder why we're even in the UN at this point if Israel's supposed to be such a huge friend of the United States when all these countries hate us and Israel so bad that no matter what Israel does, they're going to be condemned. It's just that simple. I don't care if they go in and kill 10,000 Israelis and the Israeli goes in and kills one guy, they're going to condemn Israel's attack. It's just that simple. They hate Israel and they hate us. They just like our money. The statement also called for an end of the siege on Gaza and an introduction to humanitarian aid. The countries also called for an international community to stop arms exports to Israel. So they're going to force us to basically give all of our stuff to them, and we have nothing left. We've sent most of it to Ukraine, and we don't have any fuel in our strategic reserve, and I don't think Biden's going to fill it because that might be against his green agenda, which is a national security issue, if he's not willing to fill your strategic reserve in case we get into a war. This is unprecedented what he's done to us in this country. Originally, only the 22 members of the Arab League were expected to participate, but the meeting was later expanded to include the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. You gotta wonder why the Arabs would follow the Muslims. They know it always turns out bad in history, but we'll see how that works for them. A wider association of 57 mostly Muslim majority states at which the Arab League countries belong. And so you will start to see this really break down as we move forward. Everybody is siding with each other right now. We're just going to get pushed out of the game, and we're going to have our own problems in this country as we have all these demonstrations breaking out all over the country, and we have no ability to shut our borders down as we're letting terrorists actually walk in over the southern border, which are going to cause our own sleeper cells in this country that are going to affect our own countries, or our own states, counties, and cities. And we've introduced all these people that nobody knows who they are in your communities. You see them walking around all over the place. I don't know who any of these people are anymore. They just stick them in housing complexes in your community and they let them go, and they probably pay them to be there. Maybe we should be asking what the hell's going on in those cases, because this is going to cause real problems for our communities as we move forward. And I'm sure they don't have any real ability to do anything about it. But you think they're going to be part of the community when it all breaks down? Probably not. They're probably going to be a real problem, and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with these. Now, the cities are even going to be worse than a small community like mine. We at least know most people in the community, and they will blend together to deal with these other rogue elements that are in their communities. But like I say, just keep your eye on all this. This is going to break out. Erdogan is finishing his tour. I think he went to Germany. He's trying to get all his ducks in the row before he actually does something. And I believe that if we do see Hezbollah get into this, Turkey's going to have to protect the Temple Mount. Now, he doesn't care about Israel. Don't get me wrong. He cares about the Temple Mount. He cares about the securing of the Temple Mount so they can build their big mosque on there and have it on God's seat. That's his main goal in life. If you break it all down, he wants to rebuild the Neo-Ottoman Empire, but he wants to control God's seat, and that's through Israel. And so Israel is going to be a real problem for him before long. God bless everybody today. Get your oil in your lamp. This one's going to break soon. Find the open door. Find Jesus. God bless you. Be safe out there. This one is going to start breaking quickly.